What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another update on the fish room. So we got some stuff going on, so decided to restart this tank. So I kind of just briefly rinsed down the tank and just put some water in here. Got this little pump. It's supposed to be like for, you know, statues, water fountains and stuff like that. Very small, very small pump. Kind of rigged it together just temporarily. Ran it back here and just kind of have water trickling down like that. I had these cups or these plastic containers to contain humidity for the Wabi Kusa. So we're starting up the Wabi Kusa tank again. And I didn't do anything fancy this time. Before I had like stapled them together to kind of make it like one whole piece, but I was like, oh, whatever, I'm just gonna kind of throw it together and see what happens, right? So it looks like that for now. Same thing with the top. I had to trim off that little piece in the back there, just kind of fit that in there for now, but that's what it looks like so far. I do have some Wabakusa balls from a long time ago that we had stored. I haven't used it, and we'll put 3 Wabakusa balls on the bottom here. On the top, we'll use Wabakusa, I guess, mats instead of balls. And I have those made and dried outside. I'll show you guys in a little bit. Or drying, I'm sorry. So it's gonna take a couple days to dry, but first we'll go ahead and soak the Wabakusa balls in here, but I need to look for some moss so that I can lay it down here so that it doesn't drip just dirt straight into the tank. Gotta look for some moss. If I don't have any moss, the next thing I will do is probably maybe use some sort of leaf. Maybe I'll just use like a leaf or something like that, just kind of sit it there. It takes a while to kind of decay anyway, so maybe I'll do that. We'll see here. I can't find any moss. Normally I have moss on here, but since this tank crashed, I don't know if I have any moss, so we'll take a look in a second. But we'll come back to this tank and we'll put the Wabakusa balls in there a little bit. I have the light set up, but I haven't turned it on yet because we have nothing to grow yet. I have this tank kind of just like, you know, with a bubbler in place because we're getting new shrimp in to kind of replace some of this. So we're going to quarantine the shrimp in here. We're going to have another batch of quarantine shrimp in this tank too as well. So just kind of getting things in motion, and I need to put a substrate bag in here as well to kind of get that thing cycling. So yeah, we'll kind of come back to this. All right, so on the other side we have the light finally plugged in. I found the power adapter somewhere in one of these boxes, these bins. Plugged it in. I had to do an update on the firmware just because it's been a while since I've used the light, so it's been like outdated. But have it on. I think it's at 40 or 45%, so it's still pretty bright. It doesn't illuminate the tanks on the side as what I thought it would have or whatever. So unfortunately, only the center ones will get a light for now, just because I don't have another LED to throw on top there. The bottom tank here is starting to do its cycling, and I'm going to start to put some Blue Dreams. I'm getting another batch of Blue Dreams in, and maybe we'll kind of use this as a quarantine tank plus the new batch of Blue Dreams. I have driftwood. You saw driftwood in the other side too, but I'm gonna start putting in driftwood in here so that we can kind of get some biofilm growing in the tank. All right, so along with the driftwood that we're gonna be putting in the tank, we have some just shrimp additives to help them molt and grow. So we'll add that into the tank, and we'll just kind of leave it here for now. Nothing too crazy. I do have some acorns that I'm going to be throwing in here at some point once we actually get shrimp in here, but we'll kind of put this in here. We'll let that float. It's going to float for a while, but we'll get that going. Also, we need 2 almond leaves. So let me go and soak the almond leaves because we need to do like 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 4 almond leaves. So let's grab 4 almond leaves. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Get those going. Soak those in hot water. The reason why I soak these in hot water instead of directly adding them into the tanks is because they might contain something, because you don't know where they're picked up. They might have stuff on the leaves. I just want to soak it just to make sure that anything on it will kind of get rinsed off and then be placed in the tank. So I also got some cho wood kind of laying around, so let's go ahead and add these guys in. Let that kind of sit for a little bit. All right, and the tank is pretty much ready for shrimp. When the shrimp does arrive, I'll add another bag of media from one of the established tank, and we'll add in the 2 sponge filter, which is kind of getting seeded in the other tanks directly into this. And we should be good to go. We had a bunch of ADA soil that's been leaching ammonia, that's been feeding that bacteria. So I think, you know, we're pretty much good, especially if we had some snails in here kind of just running around, pooping for very low ammonia, but still, like, you know, kind of keeping the tank cycle. So we're good to go there in this tank. All right, so we're back to this side here. I'm gonna go ahead and add in a couple of these additives to the tank. And we'll let them do this thing. We'll do a media bag. Let me just do a sponge for now, and then when we actually get closer to adding shrimp, or when they actually do arrive sometime next week, we'll add in the media bag. I wanna, just because this one, we don't have a sponge filter, because I can add a sponge filter into here. It's more of just whatever is going, the media is gonna be like whatever the pond matrix is, right? So I'm gonna add a little mini sponge that's been kind of soaking in this other tank. Add this guy here, so we'll do that. There we go. Maybe we'll just add, we'll make a mini sponge filter out of it. We're just putting it in there like that for now. Okay, and the other thing that I want to add in is some driftwood pieces. Nothing fancy, it's just for them to kind of latch onto and cling onto. So let me get pieces back here. Might have to break this down a couple times. Actually, let's do this here. I don't want anything complicated where if I need to have access to the tank itself, it's not going to block anything. We'll just put this over here. And then this tank, just put that guy in there. Grab out. And we can put another guy in there. Again, the driftwood is not there for looks or whatever, it's just there for them to get biofilm, food, and cling on to. I do have a bit of Monte Carlo that's sitting here. Maybe I'll start putting it up here. Just because these guys are going to go immerse, I'm just kind of put it in here to start the process. Okay, there we go. We have those guys up there. I'll show you guys in a little bit because it's hard to see from this angle. But one thing is, I want to see if we have any moss so that we can lay down the Wabakusa balls in here and let those guys start soaking in. I don't see any moss on this side, so I'm going to jump on over here. So, unfortunately, I do not have any extra moss. It looks like they kind of all melted back on me. So I'm going to grab the almond leaf that we had soaking earlier, and I'm just going to make a nice long platform out of these guys so that it can sit on. Nothing fancy, it's just going to sit on these guys here, so we'll put those on there. And then the rest of the little extra leaves we'll just kind of throw in there. Alright, so here's the Wabakusa balls that I made a while back, and we're just going to soak them. I'm actually going to put them in the water here for now and let them soak for just a little bit so that they can kind of get soft. Not too long, just because they do basically will turn into mud or mush. But because they've been dried for probably at least 2 years, we need them to have some sort of moisture inside the core. So when we're planting the roots, that it's going to be moist enough, and also, you know, just something for the roots to kind of cling on to. So we'll let these soak for a little bit. I'm going to show you guys the other Wabakusa mats that I made in the back real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll take these and we'll put them in there. So here's another angle real quick. So I just cut those 4 leaves. And here's another angle real quick. So I just cut those 3 leaves. The Wabakusa ball is just going to sit on it. So as water is just kind of flowing down it, it's not going to basically erode or just push, you know, dirt all around. But yeah, then we have the Monte Carlo that's just going to sit there for now. Then we have the extra little platforms once the other mat dries. All right, so here are the mats, or like this, that I made. Nothing too fancy. We only used 3 of them. I just had enough to make an extra one, but just in case if we messed up. But we're gonna grow carpet plants on these guys. So the Monte Carlos are going to go on top of these. Here we go. Let's grab the Wabakusa balls and kind of put them in place. All right, so we got the Wabakusa balls in place. I'm thinking of putting probably a crep on one of them, just because I had grown a crep immerse a while back, and it looks amazing immersed. So let's try to do a crep on one of them, and then we'll figure out some other stem plants for these guys, and we'll do carpeting plants up top. But I also forgot that we need to put this in here as well. So let's go ahead and put that in there. Everything's in place. So yeah, we are pretty much now just waiting for shrimps to come in sometime next week, or maybe 2 weeks from now. We'll let this guy soak, you know, for a while. And as they soak, we are going to wait until the core is kind of like soft so that we can start planting. So we're just gonna let this soak probably a couple days, and then we'll make some holes into the Wabakusa to allow it to grab and go. Actually, I found some moss in that tank, and yes, it would have been enough for maybe 2 pads, but that's okay. We'll just use a leaf. We're gonna put some on top. That way, we can kind of get some growth of the plants growing. It's going to cling on to the moss around and kind of grow from there. So I'm not too worried, even though it's just a little piece. There we go. So I turned on the light since we do have some plants in here. Monte Carlos in the back, and some of the moss that we put on top of the Wabakusa for now. It'll kind of keep it moist. And the humidity out here in the garage is actually pretty high, so I'm not too concerned about the Wabakusa drying out. Plus we have a nice thin layer of water here that's collecting, so that is kind of running through the Wabakusa, so I'm not too concerned about it ever drying out. So yeah, exciting that we're starting back the Wabakusa tank. A little messy on this side, but we gotta do what we can here. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you guys aren't subscribed yet, make sure you guys are subscribed. Like always, next one guys, peace.